Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Coach Susan and I'm very happy to have you guys on here for another episode of Finance Friday. Now in today's episode, I want to talk to you guys about savings mistakes that I think are really costing us so much money and they are really standing in the way of our financial goals. Why savings? Because savings really are the backbone of wealth creation. You cannot survive this world without savings, and you can also not build any kind of wealth or riches without savings, because you can't invest money that you don't have in the first place. And we don't even invest money that is meant to be used. We invest money that we had actually saved for that purpose. So I want to take you through some of these mistakes that we are making, and I hope that by the time we're done with this video, you'll have purpose to leave those mistakes behind. And my goal is that your savings journey this year is going to get better just because you've now been aware, or you know where the loopholes are. So if you're interested in finding out what those mistakes are and how to avoid them, stick around. The first mistake that you're making in your savings is actually saving in banks. Yes, you had it right. Saving in banks is a very big mistake. Bank accounts are they are best utilized for transaction purposes only. And I know you're probably wondering, why shouldn't I save in a bank? What is the problem of saving in banks? I'll tell you about it. If you've ever had such a thing as inflation, then you already have your answers. I want to give you a good example of someone who actually primarily saves in banks versus someone who is normally saving their money, maybe say in a money market fund, for instance. Now, if you're saving money in a current bank account, at least here in Kenya, you're not getting any interest on your savings. And sometimes some of these savings, you're not going to use them for the next maybe 6 months, maybe even 1 year or more. And if inflation rate in Kenya is at 7%, for instance, your savings did not earn any interest at all in a current bank account. So that means by the end of the year, your money grew by 0%. However, inflation grew by 7%, which means that your money seated in your bank account earning no interest at all has actually been devalued by 7%. So at the end of the year, you'll actually be 7% poorer, as opposed to someone who this whole year decided to save in a money market fund that gives them, say, 9.5% per annum. At an inflation rate of 7%, this person's savings have actually grown net of inflation by 2.5%. So while you're 7% poorer with your savings stuck in a bank account, someone who has put their money in a money market fund has at least been compensated for inflation, and they are 2.5% richer. So please, in 2024, can we stop saving primarily in bank accounts? There are so much better options for your savings, especially short-term to medium-term savings than banks. Ensure that you're actually putting your money where you're getting some interest. In the day and age where inflation is as high as it is, you cannot afford to leave your money in a bank account that does not earn you any interest whatsoever. So please avoid that saving mistake this year. The second savings mistake that we are making is not attaching specific goals to our savings. I see so many people start saving and like there's no specific purpose attached to why they're saving. While that may be good as you're starting your financial freedom or your financial independence journey, it's not something that I will encourage you to continue to do. One of the best ways to save is what we call goal-based saving. Now, haphazardly saving is also, it's acceptable, it's okay, but if you want your savings to actually make a difference in your life, for them to be very targeted, to be purposeful, to be intentional, you must attach a purpose to your saving. I've also found that when you attach a purpose to your saving, you're more committed to that cause, you're more dedicated to it. It means something to you more than just saving. I've actually found that a lot of my clients who've not attached a purpose to their savings end up dilly-dallying on it, because it doesn't mean that much. It's just savings. I can just withdraw whenever I want. or top up whenever I want. But for example, if you open a specific savings account, like a travel sinking fund, and you're like, next year when I turn 30, I would actually like to have a Euro trip or to travel out of the country. You see the fact that you have a purpose attached to that account. You will actually realize that very rarely are you just randomly withdrawing money from that account, because the purpose you've attached to that account is very dear to you and it means something to you. And so you're more disciplined in savings where you have attached a purpose. If you're just saving generally for no reason, you don't have direction, you don't have a plan, you don't have a purpose, it's very, very easy to slack on those savings or to even liquidate them for whatever reason. But when you've attached a purpose to your savings and you do goal-based saving, then it becomes easier. The top 2 goals that I want you to focus on in 2024 is A, have a savings account attached to the goal of an emergency fund. And we've talked about that so much on this channel. I'm not going to get deeper into it today. Please ensure that one of your savings account is actually an emergency fund. I always recommend money market funds for that here in Kenya. So please ensure that you have that purpose attached. Guys, if there's an account I respect with all my heart and my soul, is my emergency fund. I started my emergency fund in 2020 and now we're in 2024. I'm still funding it every month without fail, and I do not withdraw from that account for any reason that is not an emergency. And because of that reason, I've only ever had to withdraw from that account in the past 3 years. I've just withdrawn once since 2020, because I place I place some respect. I put some respect on that account. The only time I'm withdrawing from that account is in the case of job loss or income loss. We don't have maybe rent, or one of our parents is hospitalized. That's what merits a withdrawal from that account. Everything else can wait. It can be planned for. We can practice delayed gratification. Another account that I'd really want you to focus on are your sinking funds. So, all of these things that are getting us in debt, like home improvements, home development, birthdays, anniversaries, Christmas, all of these non-monthly expenses, please have savings accounts for them. Now, if investing is something you've always wanted to do, for example, and you keep feeling like, I don't have enough money to invest, I only just have 5,000 every month or 10,000, and that cannot buy me a bond. One of the other things you can do is you can actually open a specific savings account, a high yielding account, like a money market fund. And then you can just start accumulating 10,000 or 5,000 every month. By the end of the year, if you do 10,000, you have a rough maybe 120,000, and that's money that you can invest in your first bond with. You understand? So what I'm just trying to say is, don't just open an account and say, I'll be saving here. It usually does not, it's not very sustainable. But when you attach a purpose to an account, it means something to you. You know the effect of this account, the effect that this account will have. You know how important this goal is to you. Then you will actually find that in 2024, you will actually be more disciplined with your savings than when you didn't have a purpose specifically attached to your savings account. So again, please don't open random savings accounts. And, I've seen actually a lot of my clients last year when we were discussing, simplifying their finances. You find that someone has like 3 savings accounts, 7 savings accounts. And like for them, it's like, I just like putting money. I always just like to know there's money here. I'm like, what's the purpose of this account? Why did you open this account? Most of us don't know why we opened the account. We just have it. So it's not targeted. It doesn't make sense. So you'll withdraw as you please. You will top up as you please. But for an account that has very specific timelines, okay, very specific purpose, very specific goals, you will find that you're probably more disciplined in that kind of an account than in just a random account that you opened. The third mistake that you're making in your savings is not working with specific timelines for your goals. Again, just as in the previous point, goal-based saving is the best kind of saving, but a lot of us do not actually work with timelines. And I want to give you a very good example. Now, let's assume that one of the goals that you have this year is to raise 120,000 towards an investment that you'd like to do or towards a project that you'd like to do. Now, what most of us will do, we will not work with the goal or the timeline or the amount. And so you'll even find someone just contributing 4,000 or 5,000 every month. Now, if you contribute 4,000 shillings every month or 5,000 shillings every month, without a timeline, let's even just assume you will do it consistently for the rest of the year. Since January, you've done 5,000. At the end of the year, you only just have 60,000, which is half of your goal. So working with timelines and working with amounts, in other words, these are the three most important questions to ask. What do I want and how much will it cost me? By when do I want it? And therefore, how much money should I contribute every month? So if I know my goal needs 120,000 by December and I have 12 months to get there, you divide that number, the 120,000 shillings, divide by 12 months, okay? And there you have 10,000 shillings per month as a savings target. If let's say your timeline is 2 years, it's even much easier. If you still want to raise 120,000 in the next 24 months, which is 2 years, then if you work backwards, then you know that you can actually comfortably contribute 5,000 every month in that account. And in 24 months, you will actually have the 120,000 that you want. So generally, what am I saying? Again, be very strategic and goal-based when it comes to your savings. One of the reasons savings is not working for us is because we are not being intentional with these things. You're just saving randomly. You don't know how much money you need, by when you need it, and therefore how much money do you need to contribute. So a lot of us are actually opening savings accounts. Our heart is in the right place. We actually have at least taken a step towards starting to save, but we still end up not achieving the goal because we were not very specific when it came to our planning. So be as specific as possible. Always indicate how much money you need, what these goals need, and then of course work backwards. Don't just arrive at a figure. Like most of us are opening money market funds or accounts and we just start by contributing 2,000, 7,000, 10,000. How do you know that money is going to get you there? The only way to know how much money is going to get you there is when you work backwards. Calculate from the standpoint of how much money do I need and by when do I need it. And then actually use simple math to calculate, if I want to get there by 2025, how much do I actually need to contribute every month? That way, you are saving more. You're being a smart saver, okay? As opposed to just haphazardly putting money around and then getting very disappointed at the end of it all when you discover that you saved very little, okay? The other savings mistake that I feel especially us Kenyans are making is saving in merry-go-round chamas. Now, hear me out. I know someone just wants to switch it off right now. Let me justify why I'm saying this. Now, merry-go-round chamas, how do they work, guys? We come together as a group of 5 people. We decide that we are each going to contribute 5,000 Kenyan shillings. And at the end of every, let's say, maybe month or something, one of us gets the total amount. So month 1, we all contribute 25. Person 1 gets 5,000. Person 1 gets 25,000. Person 2, the other month, gets the 25,000. Person 3, 25,000. If you haven't already identified the first mistake, please refer to point number 1 where we spoke about banks and inflation. You're also putting yourself in this same situation with merry-go-round chamas. Your money is not working for you. Your money is not earning you any interest whatsoever. The only reason that I would justify saving my money through merry-go-round chamas is if I struggle with the discipline of saving for myself and contributing this money for myself. And guys, let me tell you something. Gone are the days of using chamas to buy sufurias and pots and pans and I don't know what, because now we have sinking funds. If you're actually disciplined with your own savings, then you will actually, in fact, guys, it takes 5 months for you to actually get the 25,000 shillings. Had you opened your own personal account or money market fund, in the 5 months, you will still have 25,000 shillings and some. Like you'll have 25,000 shillings and some interest from what you've actually been contributing. So merry-go-round chamas are, they're not the most ideal place to save your money unless, again, you struggle with lack of discipline on a personal basis, like you really do struggle with saving by yourself or for yourself. And you also I need you guys to be aware that you are actually paying for your lack of discipline. You're paying very, very dearly because your money in a merry-go-round chama that is not earning you any interest is actually getting eroded by inflation. Chamas, guys, are for investment purposes. If you are in a chama, I need you to actually ensure that you guys are putting money together for investment purposes. Why? Because a chama, a lot of us are underutilizing what chamas are for. Chamas are for people coming together to pool resources, take advantage of economies of scale. So what I can't do as an individual, we can do as a group. So let's say, for example, I can't raise 100,000 by myself for investment purposes. But like if we are 5 of us and we each now contribute 20,000, which is maybe more accessible to me, then we are able to reach that 100K faster and maybe invest it in a treasury bill or in a treasury bond or in a business venture. Please stop utilizing merry-go-round chamas for savings purposes. Use chamas or if in case you're not Kenyan and you don't understand what chamas are just group savings or investments where people come together and contribute money together. So again, for these groups, it is always advised to use them for investment purposes because you are taking advantage of the economies of scale. You're able to meet goals faster because you're many and because you're also, like, the contribution amount has now become very accessible to you. And you guys can actually be able to do investing. Guys, if you forget anything I've said today, anywhere where your money is not earning you an interest that's compensating you for inflation, you are already losing money to inflation. So please avoid your primary savings or your primary investments. Avoid putting them in, again, as we said in point number 1, in banks, and then number 2, leaving them just circulating amongst your friends in a merry-go-round and not necessarily earning you interest. So can we please leave merry-go-round chamas in 2023 and in 1980? Please utilize your sinking funds, work on your financial discipline, and let group investments be exactly that, group investments, not merry-go-round savings. Another savings mistake that I'm seeing us guys make is not increasing your savings as your income increases. So if you've been lucky enough to maybe your life has changed, you started a new business, it's doing very well, so your income is increasing, or you've gotten this new job that pays you way better than you used to earn, or you've even gotten a bonus or a salary increment where you work, and now your income is a bit better than it was maybe some years ago or even just last year. Now, what most of us will do is let lifestyle creep do the thing. So we will improve every area of our lives other than increasing or improving on our savings. I'm just going to take this moment to remind you that if your increase in income or if your increase in salary, it does not reflect in your savings and investments, that money has not benefited you in light of your financial freedom and your future financial goals. Money, remember, I keep reminding people this, wealth is what is left after you've spent. Okay, so a salary increase or an income increase that has gone to spending has not helped you in the medium term to long term at all because that money has already been spent. It's not wealth. So remember, wealth is what is left after you have spent. So if you want your salary increments, your business increments, when when God blesses you and like your income is doing so well, or when you get earning opportunities, please ensure that you reflect that increase in your savings and investments. I always tell people working with a percentage, like for example, the 50-30-20 is it's a good bottom line place to start, because you see, if I was earning 100,000 and I had committed 30% of my earnings to saving and investing, then when I start earning 300,000, I should maintain the same 30% of my total earnings towards savings and investments. That's the only way your salary increase or your income increase will contribute to your wealth creation journey. The last savings mistake that you need to be keen on is not understanding that savings actually take discipline and consistency to work. One of the things that I notice is that a lot of us, especially when the year is still young, like right now, the first quarter of the year, we are usually very driven, we are very encouraged, we are very motivated to, build savings, fund the emergency fund, save up towards that investment or that business project. But then eventually, when the motivation wears out, then we actually start slacking and you even start making excuses for why you can't contribute. You know, we're always saying, oh, this month I had to pay school fees, so I didn't save. Or this other month, this thing came up, so I wasn't able to really save. So we keep giving excuses as to why. Now, for your savings to work, remember when I started this video, I told you guys that building savings is the backbone. It really is the cornerstone to wealth creation, because you can't save your way to wealth. You must invest, but the money for investing comes from saving. So please stop relying on motivation. Can I tell you guys, this is one of the things I keep saying this, not just when it comes to finances, but even when it comes to like my work ethic and my personal life goals. I've noticed that one of the shakiest things to depend on is motivation. Please stop operating on motivation. I see so many people either watching videos like this one, or other videos, or starting a new year, or you go somewhere where you get super pumped, so you get the motivation. I keep telling people that motivation is a feeling, like happiness and anger. Today I feel very happy, and then tomorrow I'm mood swinging, or I'm on my period, so I'm not feeling so well. I'm pissed off for nothing. That's a feeling. And that's exactly how motivation works. Motivation is not enough to sustain your goals. It's not enough, whether that's personal goals or even the financial goals that we are talking about. So stop relying on motivation. Motivation is just a feel-good feeling or a hormone. It works for the short term, which is one of the reasons why in this first quarter of the year, a lot of us really do make an effort towards savings. By the time it's May, the story is different. We are no longer saving and investing with as much vigor as we started the year with. So I want to remind you that discipline and consistency is one of the most amazing things that you can actually do for yourself when it comes to your savings journey. Okay? So please ensure that you've actually created a system where you remain disciplined, and a system where you actually remain consistent in your savings and investments. As long as you keep starting and stopping throughout the year, by 2025, you'll have the same story that you had in 2023. Like, you'll just be like, I'm still not saving, I'm still not investing. And sometimes I feel very sad, because I meet people who have been in the job market for over 5 years, 10 years, and they have nothing to show for it for all of those years that they've actually been working. So you actually need to be very, very careful. It's very highly probable that you earn 6 figures, 7 figures, and you actually don't save because of that lack of discipline and that lack of consistency. One of the tips and the hacks that I can give you, especially if you struggle with discipline and consistency, is to actually automate your savings. How do you actually automate your savings? You automate your savings by placing standing orders with your bank. So let's assume you've decided that you want to fully commit to contributing 10,000 or 20,000 towards a particular money market fund every month, or a particular saving every month. Please go to your bank, and on that day, your salary comes in. So let's say latest your salary will come in on the 6th or on the 7th. Put a standing order for that 6th or 7th, for when your salary hits your account, for your bank to actually automatically deduct that amount and direct it where you actually want it directed. So you see there, you've saved yourself the trouble of having to have this negotiation with yourself. Should I put this money? Should I not? Like, by the time you're even having that discussion, the money has already been deducted. So please, discipline is more consistent than motivation. Motivation comes and goes. Discipline actually needs for you to become an adult. It needs for you to actually call yourself out. It calls for you to practice delayed gratification. It calls for you to actually be very much in control and aware of what's happening in your finances. So I really hope that you gathered a thing or two, a point or two that can help you in your savings journey in 2024. Please let me know in case you have any questions or comments. I really like reading your comments. Every time I upload a video, you guys always leave comments, and I'm usually very, very glad to read them. So let's keep that going. And of course, remember to like this video and also subscribe and turn on the notification bell so that you can be notified every time I upload a new video. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next episode of Finance Friday.